Database documenter. What is a database documenter? Well, in Access, it's a tool that allows you to view the schema of the database. What do we mean by schema? That is the way the database has been constructed, the framework, if you like, that the data is held in, the tables, the attributes, and the settings for the attributes. So Access is this fabulous tool, which you'll find in their Database Tools tab at the top, and it's called the Database Documenter. Now, before we jump into this Database Documenter, it's a good idea to click into the Relationship tab there so that you can actually see the relationship between the entities in this database. This database is the Hotel Bookings database, which is the example used in Appendix 11 of the Hire Course Specification document. So, we've got 4 tables: customer, booking, hotel and resort. You can see that they are linked together, which makes this a relational database, and that cardinality of the relationship is one-to-many. So customer has a one-to-many relationship with booking, hotel has a one-to-many relationship with booking, and resort has a one-to-many relationship with hotel. A copy of the primary key from customer has been placed into the booking table as a foreign key. The same has happened in hotel. The primary key hotel ref, a copy of it has been placed into the booking as hotel ref foreign key. The same has happened between the relationship with resort and hotel. A copy of the primary key resort ID from the resort table has been copied into the hotel table and it's called resort ID. So once you've familiarised yourself with the name of the entities and the attributes that make up the entities and the relationships, then it's time to go and look into the documenter. So back into the database tools and then click on Database Documenter. This will bring up this dialog box, and this is really important that you're in the Table tab at the top. You will see all the tables listed in the database. You can check them all and then view them all at the same time. That is a bit overwhelming. So what I like to do is tick one of them, click the Options button, and now there's 3 areas here that we can choose from. And then first time, what we'll do is make sure that there's nothing checked for include for table, and make sure there's nothing included for indexes, and we'll check on the names, data types and sizes, then click OK. Click OK again, and what you'll get is a kind of preview window, a print preview window of a PDF document. Now, this document has got 1 page in it. If you look down here at the bottom, you'll see it's only 1 page, and we're only getting a small amount of information. We're getting the name of the fields, the data type of the fields, and the length of the fields. Now, let's go back and see if we can get more information from this documenter. So back into the Database Tools tab at the top, Database Documenter, back to the customer table, click Options again. This time we will include names, data types, sizes and properties. Then click OK and OK again. Now this time we've got a 3-page document. If you click through them, you'll see that there's 3 pages. So we're getting more information. So for each field in the table, here is the field customer hash. You're getting all of these general properties explained to you. So at the top you've got the name of the field, the data type and the size. That was what the original was. So this is all the properties. The ones that we're definitely interested in is the one that's required, and that will either be true or false, and if there's any validation required. You can see on postcode short text with 8 characters, and there is a validation rule here that says the length of postcode must be less than or equal to 8. In this table there wasn't a foreign key, but before we move on from this table, I'm just going to click close on that and go back up to Database Documenter again for customer, because let's have a look at the other display that we're missing. So include for table, let's do relationships this time and see what happens. So it's names and relationships, and then click OK and then click OK. Now this time, how many pages have we got? 1, 2, 3. So we've still only got 3. But if we look at the relationship down here, whoops, you can see that it's showing you the relationship between the customer table and the booking table. And it's saying that the primary key customer hashtag is a foreign key in the booking table. And it's a one-to-many relationship, and it's been enforced. What that means is referential integrity is being enforced. So that's interesting, and it's worth including that. Nothing else has changed in the top of it or the attributes. The only thing is you can now see the relationships. So let's go back to the documenter and have a look at what else. So back to customer and into options. So do we want to look at the properties? Let's look at the properties and the relationship this time and see if that's any use to us. Then click OK and OK again. How many pages have we got? We've got 3 pages. Oh, we've got 4 pages this time. So there is the relationship on the 4th page. What is different about this? I'm going to go back to the first page in case it's there. Here we are. So we're getting properties for the table appearing at the top before we move down into the attributes. So is there anything here that we really need to know about? And I'm looking through it and I can't see anything that is vital for us to add to our data dictionary of this schema. Most of that seems to be dependent on access. So that tells us that when we're using this documenter, the best thing that we can do in options is relationships for the table, and in the fields we want to know the name, the data type, the size and the properties. So those are in my recommendation for you when you're setting up your documenter. This will give you the most information without overpowering you with things that are not required. So I'm going to click OK for that and OK again. And this, what we want to do now is we want to actually get a copy of this. You can either just view it there, but it's always good to get a copy. So what you can do here is you can export it to a text file, export it to a PDF file. So let's export it to a PDF file because we're not going to be changing it. Here I've made a folder called Documenter in my hotel bookings folder, and you want this name here is not really informative. I'm going to change the name to, this was the customer table, so I'm going to say documenter underscore customer. And you can see here that there's options. We're not going to be printing this out, so minimum size publishing is fine. And if you don't want to see it after you've published it, uncheck this, but I do want to have a wee look at it. Let's see what other options there are. You can say what pages you want. So we want all of the pages. Remember there were 3 pages. I'm fine with that. And then click publish. And you'll see, because we checked that box, whatever application you've got for viewing PDFs, it should open up and you should be able to scroll down now. You've got one document with all that information, which is fabulous. And what I would do with this at this point is I would highlight the things that I'm interested in that's going to help you. Right, I'm going to close that for a second and close that. And I'm going to close that. Now this time it would be quite interesting to look at the booking table because it's got 2 foreign keys in it. So let's go back into the documenter and this time have a look at booking and then go into options. We'd want relationship and we want everything from field and then OK again. How many pages is this? 4 pages. Very end gives you your relationships. 2 relationships are showing up here. There is a relationship between booking and customer, and there's also a relationship between booking and hotel. And you can see that it's given it its own name. We don't need to worry about that. We're not calling it that. That's what Access has decided to call these relationships. You can see that they're both, the cardinality is one to many for both of them, and that Access has enforced referential integrity. Okay, now let's have a look at one of the fields, which is a foreign key. So that would be customer. Let's see if we can find that. There you go, customer. is a foreign key. So how is this written in this documenter? So there's the basics of the data type and the length check. We've got the required set to true, but down here in this row source, this is where you're going to find the information about the foreign key. Let's have a look at this hotel ref. Hotel ref has a foreign key in it. So what's different in the properties then about the foreign key? So you can see down here in the row source, there is a select statement. So what we want to do is get a copy of this as well. So we want to export this to a PDF. We want to call it a documenter, and this time it's booking, and publish it. Just like that, you'll get your documenter file. Lovely. And close. Let's do all of them at the same time and make one document up now that we've kind of looked at them in more detail. So we'll go for booking, customer, hotel and resort, and then go into options. Make sure you've got relationships, and for the fields, names, data types, size and properties, click OK again, and then click export to PDF, and we'll call this one documenter all tables, and we will publish this one. And now we just need to use this one document when we are updating the data dictionary that we're going to be using for the SQLite version of this database. And if you scroll down, you'll see that you still get the relationships at the end of every table. So the first table that's been dealt with is booking. Then that tells you, the relationship tells you that's the end of that table. Then we're in customer. Then we're in hotel. And there's the relationships for hotel. And last one is the resort. Interesting stuff. It's always a good idea to have a look at the documenter just to see the schema. So now we'll use this documenter to help us construct our data dictionary of the SQLite version of this database.